Hello, let's solve some puzzles. This one's called Morduku by M. Garand. Morduku is a play on words, 2 words to be exact, murder and Sudoku. As you can see, the layout and floor plan of an apartment is in the shape of a Sudoku puzzle, with each tile representing a cell and each room representing a box. They are not all squares, the rooms. That's part of the rules of Morduku. And there are a few more rules, and we'll see them as we go along. I'm not gonna go through all the rules. All you need to know is that every person would be in a different column and row. So the suspects and the victim can never be in the same row or the same column. Beds, chairs and carpets are the only objects that can be occupied. So, beds, chairs and carpets can be occupied. Tables, TV, plants, the shelf and boxes cannot be occupied. Windows are usually on the sides, on the walls of the rooms, and people can be in front of the windows. The keyword beside means directly above, below, on the left and on the right of something, basically one of the objects. In the same room though, so that's why this image shows only 2 options, because this object is in the corner of this room. So the suspect would only be beside, in 2 spots beside the object. That's all you need to know before we start. I've already solved a couple of cases. You also get a little bit of a note from Chief Williams. There he is, a smart man with a nice big mustache. And you also get a spot to write down your answer. This is the layout. You get the clues over here. You also get a workspace so that you don't mess up the main layout too much. As you can see, I'm already done with 4 puzzles and I'm on to the 5th murder that seems to be happening during a study session. He probably thought failing his final exam was the worst thing that could happen to him. Oh, the poor thing, Mr. Vince. There he was, studying in one of these rooms. sadly got murdered by either Aaron or Bruno, Clara, Donna, or Evelyn. Tip: if you know Aaron is on a specific bed, then no one else can be on that line. Cross out those squares. As you can see, I've already been doing that, and that's because I am a Sudoku enthusiast and I love solving Sudoku puzzles, even though I'm not really very good at them, which is why I really like this one, because this one's a bit more basic, I guess. So it tingles me enough to keep me interested, but also does not frustrate me more than it needs to, that I leave it in between unsolved. That's the worst thing you can do while doing puzzles, to quit, and I don't like to quit usually. Okay, that's enough about me. Let's solve a murder of poor Winds. Okay, I'm gonna need to use my No Mercy books as a paperweight, because this book is brand new and hasn't been used enough to hold all by itself. Okay, let's get started. I've got my handy little technical pencil and a nice little somewhat clean eraser, and let's go. So I usually like to start by marking out on the rough page where the non-occupiable objects are, so that we could just rule out those spaces altogether. So that means the TV, the plants on in these two rooms, the table of course, and these two tables as well in the main bedroom. Wow, that is a really big bedroom. But I wonder how you'd get to the other side of the bed. Occupies the whole bed, the length of the room, the width of the room. But that's none of my business, I guess. Aaron was on the bed, so it's Aaron's business. So he must have been in these two spots. Let's mark them. Bruno was the only person sitting in a chair. That means nobody else could take these spots. So it's only marked for Bruno. I'm gonna make this a B and shade around it. Maybe, oh, that looks really bad. I'm making up these legend rules as I go. Maybe I can do this and put some lines. Yeah, I guess that works. It's a bit of basic shading. And the last chair. So we know he's sitting in a chair, but we don't know which one, so that's why we need to mark all four with B. She was the only person in front of a window, and that's Clara. Again, only Clara could be in front of these windows. Yeah, 3 windows, as you can see. And so Clara gets her own space. That looks really nice and neat, I hope. Donna was in the bathroom, maybe having a nice shower or committing the murder. We might never know. It's good to not be biased. So Donna was in the bathroom, and we've got 3 spaces in the bathroom. Let's put all 3. But it doesn't say she was the only person in the bathroom, so she kind of might be our suspect. I have my eyes on Donna. You sneaky little girl. I don't know how little she is. She might be a grown woman, for all I know. Evelyn was beside the TV. Beside, as you know, means in front of, behind, left and right. Since Clara could be the only one in front of the window, that's ruled out. So Evelyn can only be here or here. Right. And now the victim is in the remaining square. So this is where the tips come in handy. So if you know Aaron is on a specific bed and he's occupying that whole bed, then no one else can be on that line. So we know Aaron is over here. He has to be on the bed. He has to be on the bed. He cannot have been anywhere else. So we could at least cross out this line, which means Donna could not have been here. She could not have been here either, and no one could have been in this spot, not even our victim. Which means Donna could have only been over here, right in between this chair and this plant. So let's confirm that if Donna was here, nobody could have been in these spots nor these spots, because as you know, the one big rule in Morduku that follows the same thing as Sudoku is no one letter or number can occupy, only one number or letter can occupy a column or a row, or a column. So I'm gonna cross these out. Similarly here as well. This helps us finalize Evelyn's spot as well. She was right on this side of the TV, and so nobody else could have been here, here, or here. Similarly, here or here. Oops, I forgot to cross out this because which again also means Clara could have only been over there by that window, making Aaron sit on his pillow, I guess. Yep. Aaron's sitting very uncomfortably, in my opinion, on his pillow, and that rules out these spots and confirms that Bruno was on this chair facing the plant. How peaceful, looking at the plant. And that just leaves out our victim's last remaining square. V. Which is over here. Leaving the victim with, drumroll please, Evelyn. She is in the same room as the victim when they were murdered. So she is the murderer. Yippee! And now I get to write her name here. So, how do we feel about solving another murder tonight? And maybe this one can be a bit more quick. Oh wow, is this a library by any chance? Oh, there's a cash register. Oh, bookstore. There we go. Solved another tiny puzzle. Oh yeah, let's read what it says. You hate to see a cracked spine. Yikes. Who's the poor soul? Vicky. Oh no. When she was alone with the murderer, so nobody else was in that room besides Vicky and one of these 5 people. Very, very bad behavior. And to think that 3 of them are older citizens. And as they say, wisdom comes with age. Clearly not. Okay. Let's, as usual, mark out all the unoccupiable objects. The cash register cannot be occupied either. So let's start with that. And then okay, it's basically all the objects in the room, I guess. I mean, in the entire flow. Yeah, I guess I've done a good job of that. And now, oh wow, let's read the genres. Crime novels, how precise. Romance novels, maybe it was a very disheartened partner. Non-fiction bestsellers, and then checkout. And yeah, I don't know why there's a bookshelf there for last minute purchases, I guess. Discounted books. Who knows what they do in the local bookstore. Alright. Aria, I guess, was in the bestsellers room. Alright, she likes the famous ones. Let's put her down in the famous room. Bruce was beside the table, probably reading crime novels. So Bruce, you're on my list of my suspects, okay, at least. But don't judge a book by its cover. Bruce could have only been over there. Yeah. So that means that's confirmed. Bruce could have only been over here. And so we cross out the column and row he's occupying. And there goes Aria. She's confirmed as well. She was right over here. apparently stuck in the bestseller section forever. If we are to take all of this to scale, and let's mark out her row and column to, oh sorry, wrong cross, my bad, over here. Yeah, Calvin was not beside a shelf. He was not at all next to a shelf, nowhere interested in picking up books. So he could not have been anywhere here. He was not here. He was definitely not there. Definitely not there. He could have been here, because that's diagonal to two shelves. He could not have been here. Nor could he. Could he? Yeah, he could not have been there either. That leaves us, he could not have been here either, but he could have been here. So there we go. He was in these three spaces. Dawn was south of area. If this is north, this is south. Area was right here. I'm stumped. There's nothing south of area except a bookshelf. I'm gonna need a moment to think about this. She was in the bestsellers room, which means she was only in these three spots. Dawn, if he has to be south of area, he needs to be here, but that's already an unoccupiable space. What's going on? Okay, for now let's come back to Dawn. Very sketchy. Everly, she was in the romance novels room. I like your style, even though romance novels are not my taste. She could have only been here, here, and here. Yep, that seems right. There's another rule here which I completely forgot. South of A, in any lower row, not necessarily in the same room. I see. So it can be over here as well. It's not directly below. South of A. That's lovely. So he was here. Dawn. Let's confirm then. He was right next to this bookshelf. Probably going through the discounted books, which leaves, marks out. Oh, I marked Everly. But let's come back to Everly, I guess. I didn't use my up space. Yep. And so Everly was in the romance room. So she was romance novels room. So she was right over here. That's confirmed. Which crosses out Calvin's space in the checkout room and puts him right here. Which means our victim was here. Oh, and Calvin was here. So it was Calvin. So wisdom definitely does not come with age. You cracked Vicky's spine, you brute. Calvin, a violent Root. I do not like him. Let's give him some horns as well. Why would you crack poor Vicky's spine, Calvin? I need some extra to write down Calvin's name. Very bad. But good job. We solved another murder. R.I.P. Vicky. Alright, that's it for tonight. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm nice and cozy up already. I'm gonna rest. Leave the murders behind. Leave it to Chief Williams, I believe his name was. What's his name? I have no clue what his name is. I thought he introduced himself. Oh yeah, there he is, Chief Williams. I'll leave it to Chief Williams, handsome man that he is, to solve all these other murders and go to bed tonight. Bye-bye.